authors that Fitzgerald was better than you, for in fact and in the literary sense he invented a generation. He might have interpreted them and even guided them, as in their middle years they saw a different and nobler freedom threatened with destruction. Into the 21st century, millions of copies of The Great Gatsby and his other works have been sold, and Gatsby, a constant bestseller, is required reading in many high schools and college classes. Fitzgerald is a 2009 inductee of the New Jersey Hall of Fame.
Hi everyone! In this show, we bring selected people from all over America to the studio to ask questions to the famous people. Today we are with Francis Scott Key Fitzgerald, who is the author of The Great Gatsby and many other literatures. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fabulous.
That's awesome. Yeah, amazingly, we brought him from the 20s using time machine. Okay, his work and legend has inspired writers ever since he was first published. He is regarded as one of the greatest writers in 1920s. First, I'm going to ask some questions to Fitzgerald. Okay, were you named after someone?
Oh yes. I was named after Francis Scott Key, the author of the United States National Anthem, The Star-Spangled Banner.
Wow, it's amazing. Okay, would you tell us about your childhood if you remember?
Sure. I was born in St. Paul, Minnesota. I was born into a family with high social aspirations, but we were not very rich.
Oh.
What school did you go to and how did it affect your writing career?
I first started to write in St. Paul Academy. I first published a story, The Mystery of the Raymond Mortgage. It has not been published because it was my little practical work. I entered in 1913 Princeton University, where I failed to become a football hero. Actually, I had to leave in 1917 because of my poor academic records. I don't know.
Well, it's quite surprising that you failed school considering such a great author now.
Well, you know, it happens. What can I say?
So I heard you served in the Army. Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, after I left Princeton, I looked up a commission in the U.S. Army. I experienced the World War II, but it was not at the center of the war. So all the violence in the war affected me less, I guess.
Can you tell us about your wife?
Well, her name was Zelda Steyer. It took me a long time to get her to agree to marry me. At the time, I was working in a small advertising firm, and I wasn't making a lot of money. And I was unable to convince her that I'd be able to support her. Eventually, though, I talked her into it, we figured a few things out, and she finally agreed to marry me. And we were married in 1920.
So, Mr. Fitzgerald, I heard your wife has been suffering from some mental issues.
Well, I'd rather not comment on that right now, but thanks.
You moved to Europe, right?
Well, my family and I moved in 1924 to the French Riviera, where I fell in with a group of American expatriates. I describe those experiences in my novel, Tender as the Night. You should buy it.
So, was your life any different in Europe than it was in America?
I could associate with writers such as Gertrude Stein and Ernest Hemingway. The Great Gatsby received excellent reviews, but the book did not make the money. Did not make the money I expected. During the next 5 years, my family and I traveled between Europe and America several times.
So, I heard that you cheated on your spouse. Is that true?
Really? You serious?
Of course not. Are you
Freaking kidding me!
Yes. You have written many books. Do you remember all the books that have written?
Well, let me see. For my novels, I have The Side of Paradise, Beautiful and the Damned, Great Gatsby, and the Retro Story Collection. There are Floppers and Philosophers, the Hot Stories, The Bagel and for my short stories, there's Pretty Spots in Her Hair, and The Offshore Pirate, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, which I'm movie by the way. Life, Brassmakers, and Rubbish Boy, The Precious Boy, Flopper Great Sunday, The Fiend, The Bridal Party, and The Vegetable, or From President to Postman.
So I have a feeling that This Side of Paradise reflects your life. Is it true?
Yes, my life, especially with Zelda, was the motive of that book. So was for many other stories as well.
What are some reasons that Nick thinks of Jay Gatsby as the Great Gatsby? I thought of some reasons as to why he thinks of him as the Great Gatsby, but I would like some more details or more solid details. What about other characters, including Gatsby himself?
Well, Nick thinks Gatsby is great because he was able to create a new identity for himself when he needed to be someone else. Gatsby that of winning Daisy, and he did whatever was necessary to attain it. Another aspect of Nick's admiration of Gatsby is the fact that he is a romantic at heart. Gatsby never veers from his goals and dreams of winning Daisy. And even in the face of reality, his steadfast determination is admirable. If somewhat misguided.
What was the purpose of writing The Great Gatsby?
Well, I concentrated on examination of man's obsessions with and needs for money, power, knowledge, and hope.
So how did the Great Depression affect your life?
To be honest, my life is a tragic example of both sides of the American dream. The joys of young love, wealth, and success, and the tragedies associated with the excess and failure.
Have you ever had any significant hard times as a writer?
Well, between Tender the Night and The Crack Up, which I wrote in between 1934 and 1936, I wrote a little bit in the middle 30s. I thought I had lost this illusion. I believe I did not produce first-rate books at the time.
Well, in Winter's Dreams and other books, you often describe the American dream. What do you mean by that?
Of course I was affected by it. I started struggling financially, which brought me into the Hollywood screenwriting. Zelda suffered from a series of nervous breakdowns. My reputation as a writer declined too. It was a hard time for all of us.
God in heaven, he looks just like my ex-husband.
My name is Benjamin Button.
Oh.
Is you.